Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. I'm Eric Ham, coming to you live from our studios in Washington, D.C. And over the next few minutes, we'll take you from the United States and around the world, covering all the top stories of the day. But before that, here's a look at the latest headlines. Amid a raging tariff war between the United States and China, Beijing says it is now open to dialogue with Washington if conducted on an equal basis. The remarks follow U.S. President Trump's 125% tariffs on Chinese goods. Iran says it may suspend cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog if the external threats continue. The remarks follow growing pressure from the Trump administration over nuclear program talks. In a big diplomatic win for the Indian government, the U.S. will extradite accused 2611 Mumbai terrorist Deportations. He will now stand trial over his role in the attacks in India. New Zealand Parliament rejects a contentious bill aimed at reinterpreting the principles of the country's founding agreement. This as the indigenous legislation saw months of protest and debate. And in sports, cricket will return to the Olympic Games for the first time in 128 years. It will feature 6 teams in both the men's and women's events. President Donald Trump's trade war with China has taken a dramatic new twist. In a sudden policy shift that caught markets by surprise, the president announced a 90-day pause on heightened tariffs for over 75 countries, softening his earlier sweeping trade measures. But China was pointedly excluded from the reprieve. Instead, it was slapped with a punishing 125% tariff on all goods.
People were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, they were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid. Somebody had to do what we did, and I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate.
And in a surprising twist, President Trump even praised Chinese President Xi Jinping during a press briefing, calling him, quote unquote, one of the smartest people in the world. Still, China appeared in no mood to back down. Instead, officials in Beijing retaliated with 84% tariffs on American goods and made it clear they would fight until the end, warning that no one wins in a trade war.
No matter how the international landscape evolves, China's economy remains firmly grounded, with abundant momentum to achieve stable development and continue forging ahead. China has the capability and confidence to manage various risks and challenges.
After the White House's about-face, countries welcomed the temporary relief and began talks with Washington, hoping to avoid further fallout. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez welcomed Washington's decision, saying that has opened the door for negotiations.
Ganan una guerra comercial.
Nobody wins a trade war. Everybody loses. For this, the measure announced by the U.S. administration, pending review of the exact details, seems like an open door for negotiation, and as such to an agreement between countries.
Even the European Commission president welcomed the president's announcement for a pause. In a statement on X, she wrote, quote, "Clear, predictable conditions are essential for trade and supply chains to function," end quote. Now, while leaders around the world were breathing a sigh of relief, markets around the world also rebounded after the president's announcement. Taiwan stocks surged 9.2% in early trading on Thursday. In Japan, the Nikkei 2225 was up 7.2%, while in Seoul, the Kospi was up over 5%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index climbed 2.69%, while the Shanghai Composite Index also jumped 1.29%. Not just the Asian markets, but even Wall Street on Thursday bounced back. The Dow Index soared to close to nearly 8% higher, and the S&P 500 ended 9.52%. And while the Nasdaq rose 12.2% to notch its best day in 24 years after the pause, as tensions between the world's 2 largest economies reach a boiling point, the question on everyone's minds remains, will President Trump's gamble pay off, or will China's firm stance win out in the end? And now we go to President Donald Trump's vocabulary. He is rewriting the English language one tweet, one soundbite, and one rally at a time. Using words that many people can't understand, Trump delivers linguistic curveballs that leave grammar experts weeping. Whether it's showering love on tariffs on air or airing his grievances with low water pressure, one thing's for sure, when President Trump speaks, the English language packs its bags and goes on vacation. Here's our report with more.
The President of the United States, traditionally a beacon of wisdom, eloquence, and diplomatic charm. But you can toss that handbook out the window because when Donald Trump walks into a room, the English language walks out. Trump has always had a knack for turning a phrase usually inside out, upside down, and then setting it on fire.
I'm thrilled to be back with so many
His speeches are less presidential addresses and more verbal roller coasters with no seatbelts.
Take back our country. But if you're ready, go ahead.
This week's fresh edition, the word Panican. No, it's not a Caribbean vacation hotspot. It's Trump's new term for those American pearl clutchers who are panicking over his global economic grenade of tariffs.
67%, that's tariffs. The head of
According to Professor Trump, a Panican is part of a new party made up of the weak and stupid.
the not too distant future when
Was this idea of doing a pause
Staying with the
that came
tariffs,
about this
when one
morning?
reporter asked Trump how the idea of pausing these tariffs came to him, he said it came straight from his heart.
I think it probably came together early this morning, fairly early this morning. Just wrote it up. We didn't have the use of, we didn't have access to lawyers, or we just wrote we wrote it up from our hearts, right? It was written from the heart, and I think it was well written too. But it was written from the heart. It was written as something that I think was very positive for the world and for us.
The move that has turned the world upside down came from his heart, and not from lawyers, experts, or advisors. Trump signed an executive order to roll back water regulations, complaining that modern American showerheads just aren't cutting it, literally.
In my case, I like to take a nice shower to take care of my beautiful hair. I have to stand under the shower for 15 minutes till it gets wet. It comes out drip, drip, drip. It's ridiculous.
Yes, while the rest of the country might be concerned about, say, the economy, Trump's top concern was making sure his locks get the presidential soak they deserve. At a Republican donor soiree this week, Trump turned up the heat with his usual modesty. Countries are calling me up, and, well, let's just hear it from the horse's mouth.
And don't let some of these politicians go around saying, because I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir.
His love affair with the word tariffs borders on obsession. Trump has expressed his love for this word at numerous occasions. During his Inauguration Day parade, he reiterated his love for tariffs. He had commented, "I always say tariffs are the most beautiful words to me in the dictionary." He added that tariffs will make America rich as hell. Now let's talk about his other greatest linguistic hits. Newscom. This is a spicy remix of California Governor Gavin Newsom's last name. Because when in doubt, just add the word scum. He used it back in 2024 when he visited the southern border. Covfefe. In 2017, he tweeted, "Despite the constant negative press, covfefe." Is it a typo, a secret code, a coven of coffee-related goblins? Well, we'll never know. Trump left the tweet hanging mid-sentence, then told us to enjoy. Truly a masterclass in chaos. Many users believe that the word was coverage.
Big league.
big league.
Beat her
Big league.
Big league. Big league. And I think we're going to make it big league. Big league.
Trump said this the first time during his 2016 presidential debate against Hillary Clinton. Did he say big league or invent a new adverb? No one knows. Bird brain, the feathery nickname bestowed upon Nikki Haley, who Trump once hired, then fired, then roasted like a Thanksgiving turkey. All this is less Lincoln and more late-night stand-up, if the comedian were also in charge of nuclear codes. So the next time someone asks how the President of the United States can say that, just remember, when it comes to Trump, the only predictable thing is unpredictability, served bigly.
And now from President Trump's catchphrases, we now move to crackdowns. This week at the 2025 Border Security Expo in Phoenix, Arizona, a new vision emerged from the Trump administration's top immigration officials. Todd Lyons, the director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, insisted that he would like the agency to implement a system of trucks that rounds up immigrants for deportation, similar to how Amazon delivers packages around the U.S.
We need to get better at treating this like a business, like Amazon Prime, but with human beings.
Now, Lyons, alongside President Trump's border czar Tom Homan and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, even praised the use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelans and possibly other immigrant groups. In fact, Tom Homan backed the commander-in-chief's move, dismissing legal objections from judges and reaffirming that family detention is still on the table.
We need to buy more beds. We need more airplane flights. And I know a lot of you are here for that reason. Let the badge and guns do the badge and gun stuff. Everything else, let's contract out.
Now, according to UC Berkeley's Deportation Data Project, the scope of arrest has widened dramatically. People with pending immigration cases, even those previously released under supervision, are being swept up. Many immigrants are regularly checked in with ICE and complain they're now being arrested without warning. Recently, the wife of a Salvadoran man who was wrongly deported by the Trump administration vowed to fight for the release of her husband.
This so-called administration error has destroyed my family's happiness, my children's innocence. Kilmar, if you can hear me, I'm still fighting for you. Your brother, your mother, our children are still fighting for you. We're not going to give up hope.
Meanwhile, cross-border travel between Canada and the United States has also plummeted, and the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem praised President Trump's border efforts, hailing a historic fall in border encounters. Now, according to Noem, encounters at the border have decreased by 94% since Trump took office, and in February, the United States saw the lowest number of encounters in its history.
We have 94% decrease in encounters at the border, and in February, we had the lowest number of encounters in the history of this country. That is incredible to see that kind of a turnaround in that short amount of time, and that's because of all of you in this room.
As deportations become streamlined, contracted out, and automated, the question isn't about policy anymore. It's about humanity. And in this relentless race to deliver, one has to wonder what happens when the system forgets that it's dealing with people and not with packages. And now we move to the devastating tragedy in the Dominican Republic, where a horrific roof collapse at a popular nightclub in the nation's capital, Santo Domingo, has claimed the lives of at least 218 people and injured over 200 more. The event, which drew a crowd including politicians, athletes, and other prominent figures, turned into a nightmare shortly after midnight when the roof suddenly gave way. Tragically, the Dominican singer Rubby Perez was among those killed. The Ministry of Culture announced a tribute to honor his significant contributions to the country's art and the merengue scene. For the past 2 days, families of victims have endured an agonizing wait outside the wreckage, desperately seeking any news of their loved ones who were inside the club when the disaster struck. They've been sharing photos with authorities, clinging to hope in the face of unimaginable loss. Authorities have vowed to continue their efforts until every victim is accounted for. However, the grim reality is setting in. No survivors have been pulled from the debris in over 24 hours. And the Dominican Republic's presidential spokesperson has now stated that the operation is transitioning from a search and rescue phase to the recovery of bodies.
I have right now, under the rubble, my sister and her husband. As for the other questions, no, I'm not happy with what's being done. It's been too long and that puts them between life and death. It's been too long to begin with. They've lasted there too long and that is crucial. Here time counts.
We learned that there are two relatives of ours. Their vehicle was here. There are videos of them dancing here, and that's how we found out. So far, they have not given us any clues. We have gone to the hospitals, we have searched. We have been attentive when they take the bodies out and nothing.
President Luis Abinader, who is among the many grieving, attended the funeral service for Nelsie Cruz, the governor of Monte Cristi province and sister of former Major League Baseball star Nelson Cruz. Former Major League Baseball players Octavio Dotel and Tony Blanco also lost their lives in the collapse, as did the son of the Public Works and Communications minister. Earlier reports indicated that 155 people were in fact rescued from the rubble and transported to hospitals. However, the exact number of people inside the Jet Set Club at the time of the collapse remains unclear. As the nation mourns this immense loss, investigations into the cause of the roof collapse are expected to begin soon. We will keep bringing you the latest updates on this story as it develops. And we end today with a story about Michelle Obama. For months, whispers have swirled, rumors of distance, of marital strain, of a love story unraveling behind closed doors. But now Michelle Obama is setting the record straight. In a rare and heartfelt podcast appearance, the former First Lady opened up about choosing herself, stepping back from the spotlight, and the personal toll of always trying to meet expectations. And in doing so, she quietly but firmly shut down speculation about the trouble in her more than 3-decade-long marriage to former President Barack Obama. Here's more from our report.
In a world where silence is often mistaken for scandal, Michelle Obama has spoken. Not with drama or denial, but with honesty, grace, and the quiet confidence that has always set her apart.
What we've seen from Kamala Harris.
Appearing on the Work in Progress podcast with actor Sophia Bush, the former First Lady opened up about something many women struggled with, choosing themselves without apology. Her reflections, delivered with thoughtfulness and vulnerability, also served as a gentle yet powerful response to the growing speculations surrounding her marriage to former President Barack Obama. But in her own words, Michelle revealed a very different story. She said, and I quote, "I looked at something that I was supposed to do, and I chose to do what was best for me. Not what I had to do, not what I thought other people wanted me to do." That one sentence, so simple, so deeply human, pulled the rug out from under 1,000 headlines. She wasn't walking away from her marriage, she was walking toward herself. Michelle spoke candidly about the emotional tug-of-war many women face. The guilt of saying no, the fear of disappointing others, and the exhausting expectations to be everywhere for everyone. People couldn't even fathom that I was making a choice for myself, she added. They had to assume that my husband and I are divorcing. For months, Michelle's absence from key political events, including Donald Trump's second inauguration and the recent state funeral of former President Jimmy Carter, had triggered a storm of whispers, including a bizarre and widely debunked rumor of a secret romance between Barack Obama and actor Jennifer Aniston. The rumor mill spun its favorite tale, Trouble in Paradise. The world bluntly declared that the Obamas were heading for Splitsville. It's not the first time Michelle has addressed the strain that public life placed on her marriage. In her best-selling memoir, Becoming, she wrote openly about the loneliness, sacrifices, and emotional cost of Barack Obama's presidency. And yet, through it all, their bond endured, rooted in something far deeper than public appearances. But Michelle's calm and candid words on the podcast were the only fact needed to clear the air. The Obamas recently celebrated 32 years of marriage, a milestone former President Obama marked with a heartfelt message on social media last October. Through it all, they have remained a united front, parenting together, building a legacy through the Obama Foundation, and continuing to fight for the issues that matter to them both. Michelle's podcast appearance wasn't a press conference or a PR move. It was simply a woman, accomplished, experienced, and yes, still in love, reminding the world that choosing peace over performance is not a sign of a broken relationship, but of a healed soul. And with that, the rumors were not just shut down, they were rendered irrelevant.
That's our show for today. We certainly thank all of you for tuning in. We hope to see you right back here again tomorrow. Thanks everyone for watching.